As a college student, I don't know if some of you feel that way, but I felt like I could be a hero, that I could do something for God, as if I have something in me that I can offer. And then graduating from college, I realized for the very first time that I was a dust. There's nothing that I can actually do for God from myself. But God, in His grace, received and accepted and loved and forgave me and called me as His own, His child, when I have nothing to offer to Him, and out of His sheer love for me. And when I realized that for the very first time personally, not just from seeing and witnessing and kind of mimicking this life, but when I received Jesus for the first time in my heart, that He is my Lord, that He actually gave me this life, that my life has meaning when I give it back to Him, when I'm with Him. So that's when I gave my life to Jesus, and I said, Jesus, I just want to be with You. So whatever You want me to do, wherever You call me, I just want to be there with You. So just call me. I'm here. And so from then on, God was so gracious to show me what was happening at that time, especially with people who are victims of violence. And this is something that was done to them as an oppression, as an exploitation, things like what's happening during war, what's happening to the poor and the oppressed, marginalized community where children are trafficked and sold into slavery, to the brothels and being exploited, children who are victims of war, whose limbs are cut off out of sheer violence that's done to them. So God revealed those kind of very dark reality to me as to this young, early 20s person. And I felt overwhelmed, honestly, and I didn't know what I could do about that, because it's just one me. Just graduated, don't really know the direction of life. I want to be with God, but I didn't know what I could do. And then I realized that there is this massive global problem of violence against especially the poor. And of course, this kind of violence has been in human history from the very beginning. And it's not a kind of problem where we can just overturn overnight. And it's something that requires more than one person. But it has to start from somewhere, from somebody. So I asked God, what can I do about that? And because I needed to really understand God's heart for the poor, God's heart when He sees this kind of exploitation and violence, and what He wants us human to do in this work of redemption and restoration, I just sat before God for 2 weeks after I realized that kind of problem in this world. And I did, and this is usually how I pray. My prayers are often a lot of questions to God. God, teach me what Your heart is for this world. So for the following 2 weeks, I had this Q&A session where I asked God one question, because I just couldn't understand this big picture. So one question at a time. So I'll ask Him one question and He will reveal Himself to me for that question. So with His answer, I'll have a follow-up question. So I did that Q&A for 2 weeks. And at the end of that 2 weeks, what I realized, and this is by God's grace, because He called me to be an advocate for the poor, what He revealed to me is that there are laws in place in the world, in any country you go, very basic human rights laws that prohibits you from killing somebody, abusing a child, stealing from your neighbor. Those laws, although they are not perfect are in place. The problem is these laws are not being enforced because of the power, the greed, selfishness, and violence that comes with this package of sin in this world.